Hey, Chargers fans, welcome into the Guilty as Charged podcast. Yesterday, I did a part one of the offensive breakdown. What is wrong with this offense? What's going on? And it was more, what's Herbert doing? What's the line doing? What's Guyton doing? A lot of individual players or position groups. But the other part of this problem, if you will, is Joe Lombardi and what he's asking his offense to do, what he's asking Herbert to do. And so I kind of did that first 40-minute film study yesterday. But today, because I've been talking to Arjun about this, for the last few weeks, I wanted to bring him on because he's going to break down what Joe Lombardi's doing. Is it working? Is it not working? Is it different than Steichen? What's going on? So, Arjun, thank you for joining me. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I had like an all-day business conference I was at, so I'm finally glad that I don't have to listen. The speakers are great, but I don't have to listen anymore, and I can talk. And like now, I can talk about football instead of listening to business. So and yeah, if anyone hasn't seen the breakdown yet, I mean, I spent a good chunk of my day, or I spent Thursday Night Football watching it because that game was horrible anyway. So
Thank you.
that's how I prepped for today. And I
Okay.
mean, I learned so much, and obviously the graphics are amazing. So again, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. Well, then I will just be quiet and let you talk. Have at it, Arjun. What's going on?
Okay.
I don't know what you have prepared for us. So just dive right
Yeah.
in.
So let's start with this, right? I think
Okay.
so. PFF Seth,
Hmm.
aka the Herbert guy, right? Herbert can't play all that.
Yes.
He's past that. He's obviously admitted that he was wrong about Herbert. He's done his due diligence. He put out a
Hmm.
really interesting tweet saying Joe Lombardi's ruining Justin Herbert, right?
Mm.
I'm not sure that I think I retweeted it. Um,
Hmm.
there were some stats I wanted to put on Twitter, but Tyler invited me to make this video, so I think it was better to just save it for the video. The reason that Seth said that is because Joe Lombardi is making Justin Herbert try to play like Drew Brees, and that was the
Mm.
biggest thing I was concerned with when they hired Joe Lombardi. I obviously thought it was a great hire just
Hmm.
because the Saints offense is so complex. Justin Herbert's picked up every offensive system he's been able to, he's played under. And so having a new offensive coordinator isn't that big of an issue. Plus, this is a 3-year process where, you
Right.
know, this is the first year of the not rebuild, but like first year of the process. Second year is the third year of Herbert's contract is all in, blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't too concerned with the Lombardi hire, but I was concerned with like how, what type of offense he's going to be running. And like, we're supposed to be building this around Herbert, but it doesn't really seem like we're doing that. And like, I've talked a bit in my videos about how like I'm not like too on board with this whole matchup based offense because you're sort of just
Hmm.
relying on your receivers and running backs to win one-on-one matchups and like instead of scheming them open. And that's kind of like Keenan Allen's he's still like he's only 29, 30ish, so he can still play. Mike Williams obviously entering a great season, but Keenan's separation I don't know if it's been as good as it's been in previous seasons, and Mike isn't like that refined of a route runner. So
Yeah.
here's the crazy stat that I've been saving. Okay,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
so at PFF we have a metric that we call quick game. I'm going to read the
Hmm.
definition right after this. But Tyler,
Oh
can
no.
you guess who the number one quarterback in the NFL is on quick game dropbacks?
Is it Justin Herbert?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Justin Herbert. And so let me put it this way, right? Through 8 weeks, Justin Herbert has 77 dropbacks classified as a quick game dropbacks. And I'm going to read the definition right after this.
Okay.
Okay. 77. The next highest is 72, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. And we know what Ben Roethlisberger looks like.
Oh
You know
no.
the worst part about this is the Chargers are one of those teams that's had a bye week already. So he's played
Oh,
one
good
less
point.
game. So
Oh,
his quick game dropbacks per week per game is the highest in the league by a good margin. So now let me
okay.
read what quick game is defined as, okay? And
Hmm.
I'm also gonna demonstrate it because that's the type of guy I am.
Oh, okay.
Quick game is considered to be any basic quick game concept. So it's any route that breaks within 6 yards. So if you think of a slant route, a quick out, a stick
Okay.
route, a hitch route, a zig route,
Hmm.
paired with a 3-step drop back. Okay.
Okay.
So a 3-step drop back by Herbert under center, or a
Hmm.
quick 1-step drop back from shotgun. So this is what it looks like,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. So Herbert's under center. It's 1, 2, 3, and then he's just like he's looking to throw it,
Hmm.
right? Or he's under shotgun where it's catch, set, and then fire. That or
Yeah.
he doesn't have to throw it, but that's the initial read. So
Right.
the Chargers have the most dropbacks from that, right? And
Uh-huh.
and so like you can question like how reliable I guess like this metric is, but there's a lot of like there's a good amount of qualifications that this metric has to hit for it to be qualified as a quick game, right? Like
Hmm.
so like screenplays are out of this, so any of those like bubble screens you see to Keenan or
Okay.
Mike are out of it, and
So
I'm against
not
those.
including those? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm against those also, right?
Hmm.
RPOs fall into this whole thing, and they've been pretty decent on RP and some of those RPOs, but that's basically the general idea, just a 1 step or 3 step drop back, depending from shotgun or under center, respectively, paired with a really quick pass concept. So if we want to
Mm.
get into the screen share, okay, so I need a okay, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to see you, all right, but I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna run
No
through it.
problem.
So this is the first play against Washington, right? Um, we can talk through some of the concepts. This is obviously a drop by Jared Cook,
Mhm.
but like let's talk through like what the play call is, right? What is Herbert looking for that makes sense? I like a 5 yard hitch route to Jalen Guyton. That's what I saw,
Mm.
right? Right, that's his look right there to Jalen
Yeah.
Guyton. Obviously, I'm sorry that I don't have the cool graphics like you did, but you're you're
All
you're
good.
telling me the play call was a 5 yard hitch route to Jalen Guyton against William Jackson, who was one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the
Mm.
offseason.
I see what you're
He's
saying.
kind of open, but I think this is Sweat. Gets a little bit inside of Slater, so that forces Herbert outside the pocket, and then
Mhm.
obviously Cook drops the ball. But you see what I'm saying? I'm pretty. I forget if this was first or third down,
Mhm.
but like this play concept just like it's so conservative. You have
Mm.
two flat routes, right? And then two hitch routes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm pretty sure this is like a stick concept maybe, right? Like a quick hitch and a flat route, right? Does that sound
Sure.
okay? Yeah, no,
I'm
I
not the
I
best.
played Madden for a little bit, so I think that's what a,
Okay.
a stick route or whatever. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So let's go on to this next clip, right? And just for reference, we're only looking at quick game clips just because that's
Mhm.
kind of like what the focus of this the whole thing is. Oh, I'm so dumb. I forgot to mention why this is a bad thing. Okay.
Okay.
Let me do that before we go back into the film. Justin
Okay.
Herbert when throwing a quick game passing concept, he has a 57.9 PFF grade. Now,
Okay.
I know everyone doesn't really love PFF or whatever just because what they've said about the Chargers, but if there's ever a good time or a good statistic to reference to PFF or the grading, it's their quarterback grades. Like their quarterback grades are
Mm.
generally pretty solid, except that they
Okay.
have Tom Brady number one this year, which is a little bit suspect, but we're not gonna, that's fine. Most of
Different
their
different
other
topic.
top five rankings have been good. So Tyler, second question.
Okay.
Which quarterback from 2016 to 2019 has had the highest PFF passing grade with a quick game concept?
Is it Drew Brees?
Yep, it's Drew Brees.
I'm 2 for
So
2.
yeah, so Drew Brees having the highest PFF grade, a 90 plus PFF grade,
Mm.
the only
Mhm.
quarterback to have a 90 plus PFF grade from a quick game concept from that 4 year time span. I excluded 2020 because he was hurt, lot broken ribs, all of that.
Sure.
Joe Lombardi was with them from 2016 to 2019. So when I say he's enforcing the Saints offense on the Chargers, this is what I mean. Just because Drew Brees was so successful at this, but he's 6 foot with, didn't have any arm strength in the
Right.
last 3 years of his career. You got a
Mhm.
6'6" dude with a cannon, and you're making him run all these Saints concepts from the last couple of years when that's not really what his strengths are. He
Right.
has gotten a bit more accurate. I'll give him that. Like his accuracy has improved
Mhm.
a little bit this year. Obviously, there's some plays we'll see in the film that he misses a throw, but like
Sure.
Drew Brees having a 90 plus PFF grade on these type of throws and Justin Herbert being forced to make these throws when that's not his
Mm.
strength is concerning. So that was the stat. Yeah, we can go back into the film. Just look at it a little bit more. Okay, so this clip is from the Chiefs game. So as you can see, it was just another. Okay, let's pause that. It was just another like really quick 1-2, maybe like yeah, like 2.5 step drop back, and it was just like
Yeah.
firing it to Cook, who's I guess found the soft spot in this cover three, maybe that looks like cover three. Yeah, so like that's a tough throw and like a tough window to make that throw. I think Eckler would have been the right move here, like him against Nick Bolton.
Mhm.
Nick Bolton, I'll take Eckler on that any
Oh, yeah.
day. But
Mhm.
like if we go through like the routes that everyone was running, right? It was just you got two basic crossers and Mike's just running a go route, Eckler's running a swing, and like I don't know
Mhm.
what was the read supposed to be here? Like if you had to take a guess, because he eyed down Cook the whole way, right?
Right. I'd have to pause it before I even knew what the read was.
Yeah. So
I
that's
mean, yeah. The thing is, though, I guess when in terms of reads, I feel like with some of these plays and why it's also an issue is it's not even like there's really a read. It's just okay. You're probably just going to go to Cook, and here's the. I mean, not that there's anything I guess wrong with reading the defense and knowing where the open guy is going to be, but it just
yeah,
seems like it's always like a predetermined thing. Like, okay, we're on
yeah.
fourth down. There's Mike Williams over there. I'm gonna throw it to him. Okay, set hike. Oh crap, Keenan Allen is actually way more open, but I decided to go to Williams because that's what I'm being taught to do, and that's the offense. So,
Yeah,
even if
I
there was a different read here, it's like well, I'm going to Cook and set hike go, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, I agree. And like that's actually a really good point that you brought up about you're like kind of talking about Herbert being locked on his first read. That's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
where you're like what you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the stats, luckily the data actually backs this up for you.
Okay.
So just like in our how we were able to categorize quick game, Justin Herbert has the second most passes throwing to his first read. So throwing to
Mm.
your first read is generally like a large popular a large subset of like your actual attempts, so it isn't like that bad of a thing. But
Mhm.
it does explain a little bit like Herbert's kind of locked on his first target, first read. Doesn't really like hasn't really gone through his progressions as much as I felt he did last year.
Mhm.
And that goes along with the quick game stuff. Obviously, if you're just throwing to the guy at the end of your 1 step or 3 step drop back, um, you're
Yeah.
only throwing to your first read. So, another good point by you. Data backs it up. Great stuff. Uh, yeah, so we can go on to the next play. This one is against the Raiders. I thought this one actually wasn't that bad of a play call, in my opinion. It's just like it wasn't that bad of a play call on one side. So, oh yeah, so finish the play. So yeah, you got tackled. But okay. So at the top, right, we have Mike isolated on a backup corner. At this point, I think like they were like with Nate Hobbs or like Amik Robertson on the outside. You know,
Right.
I think he had Mike. Like Mike is open here.
Mhm.
I'm not sure who that is. Might be KJ, right? Like he was shaded over there. I felt like if Mike ran a post in the end zone because Merrick was shot like
Right.
he shaded over to the right side because they ran like a bunch formation, he would have had
Mhm.
Mike. But he like Herbert looked at Mike initially right there, or that was a fake to get someone to jump. But if you look like Tyler, look at this.
The spacing.
What is that? What
Yeah.
is that? Like what you got two guys sitting in the same area, and
Yeah.
then you just dump like was the protection that bad that he had to get rid of it? That Herbert had to get rid of it that quick?
Mm.
Like Ngakwe broke contain technically right going inside.
Mm.
Herbert could have easily
Mhm.
scrambled left. But yeah, it wasn't like I'm not sure. So do you think this is a
Yeah.
Lombardi thing or a player execution thing?
Uh, I tend to see if there's a play like the Steven Anderson play, if there's a guy wide open, it's probably a good call. If there's so on the flip side, if there's a bunch of guys standing in the same 3 yards of each other, I tend to think that's a bad call. And when you have guys like that, like you just show with 3 dudes standing in the same area, that's not good. And I've seen that. I usually don't see it with 3 guys with this offense, but the last couple of weeks, I've seen it with 2 guys kind of in the same
Hmm.
area. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I get that you want to
Yeah.
have like two parallel ones, like someone in the flat and someone with like a deep over. That's fine. It's sort of the same route, but they're very far apart. But some guys are running, one guy's running like a post, one guy's like they're very close to each other. And I don't understand why you would draw multiple defenders into one area where two guys
Yeah.
can make a play on the one throw. It's been very frustrating. And then some other plays where, like that random screen deep shot that they called, where like
Hmm.
Roundtree didn't even turn around for a screen. And I was like, I feel like Lombardi, and this is sort of separate from your point. I'm sorry, but I feel like Lombardi draws up plays that are maybe good for one guy to win. Like you said, win your matchup. And if he wins that matchup, it's really solid. But if he doesn't, I feel like the rest of the plays, like the players don't even exist. Like the play is
Yeah.
designed to go to one dude. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, the rest of the guys in the offense aren't doing anything because they're not being asked to do anything because that's not the play call.
Hmm.
I feel like it's just rely, especially against the Ravens, you rely so much on that one matchup to win. That first read, like you said, he's on those first reads and he's throwing there because Lombardi's like, okay, I want to draw this play up so that one guy wins. But the one guy doesn't always win. When you're covered by Marlon
Yeah.
Humphrey, you're not always going to win. If JC Jackson's covering you, you're not always going to win. And so I
Yeah.
feel like, I'd like to see them improve on the spacing, like you just said, or like you just showed, and also just get off the first read. Don't make Herbert go to the first read because he can do it. He's a smart dude. But they're like,
Yeah.
okay,
I
here's
agree.
the deep shot to Keenan Allen. And if it doesn't work, well, we didn't even have the guy on the screen turning around. It's like, what? I mean, maybe that's a Roundtree thing. I don't know. It was such a weird call, but I would love to see them develop that more. So anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. All good. Great points there. All right. This play, I believe I was not happy, or I wasn't like, I was confused about some of the route concepts here, especially on that right side. Luckily, we actually got some positive yardage from this, positive EPA from that play. But yeah, let's take a look. So out of shotgun again, just a quick 1-2, like 2.5, 3-step drop back. He's looking at
Mm-hmm.
Keenan. Keenan, if you go back, he's just running a hitch, a 5-yard hitch.
Mm-hmm.
Not there. Mike's running a go over here. We got a cluster F. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say keep the whatever. We're gonna keep it monetized.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. So like I don't know what's going on this right side. Eckler's kind of open, but even then you have four guys ready to make that tackle. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this play call? And it's a
Mm.
3-step drop back. So obviously Lombardi's drawing this up expecting someone to be wide open. But
Mm-hmm.
even like it's not like you're overloading one side to where like I believe that's
Mm.
Troy Hill. Like Troy Hill he's gonna be there. Like I don't know what the idea was, and obviously on that right side, I don't know what these guys are doing. Like I guess
Mm-hmm.
Cooks just got he's running a quick in hit like stop route. Eckler's running a flat
Mm-hmm.
route, and then I don't know what Cook's doing, but yeah, not a good play call here, and just another thing where it's like okay, throw it to Keenan or it's a bust.
Yeah.
Okay, last play. This one, I can't believe they're still doing this with Keenan
Okay.
Allen, treating him like Jarvis Landry. It's just like
Oh,
I
that.
get
Yeah.
I get the play call. I get it. He's playing 10, 8, 9 yards off. I get it. You're wide open. But like what are you gonna get from this play? And I believe this is the
Mm-hmm.
first down. Eckler, even if Eckler picks him, right? He's gonna make that tackle. He's like
Mm-hmm.
that's JC Jackson, I believe. He's gonna make that
Mm-hmm.
tackle on Keenan Allen. So like what
Yeah.
and Herbert's so locked onto it. That I don't even think he like goes through a full drop back.
Mm-hmm.
Or it kind of does, but like no one's open. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
This might be like one of the most conservative play calls I think I've ever seen. Like they're running the same BS on the other side with Cook running a stop route in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is one of those things where maybe they were fooled by the blitz because like if we watch from the beginning of the play, so we have
Right.
like this this is a Madden formation nickel 2-4-5 double A gap blitz or something like because you have the two guys in the A gap right now,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have number 8 or that might be like Jamie Collins. He goes to the I don't know what gap that is honestly. I'm sorry, but yeah, like and then both of the linebackers drop into coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those were kind of just some of my
Yeah.
my plays that I found when rewatching some of the all 22 that I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like, why?
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
frustrating because that play, maybe if they completed it, it would have worked. But you saw the Ravens picked up on Herbert turning, throwing in the flat so quickly. All their guys, they would bring heat from that side, get their hands up, knock the ball down. It happened
yeah,
2 or 3 times, I think, on first down against Baltimore. I think earlier in this game on some down, same thing. I think it was Judon got his hand up. Herbert turns, throws, dunk, knocks it down because they know this is coming. Like even though Keenan Allen was kind of open, now the defensive line is getting some free plays here just because they know
yeah.
on first down they can go, okay, just put our hands up and we'll probably knock the ball down because Herbert's going to go to his first read and throw to the flat. So yeah, no, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. It's very frustrating. All this underneath stuff. Anyway, that well, okay, I'll let you continue.
No, I mean that was the last play I had. I can
Okay,
stop sharing, but I do have one more stat that we have. So
let's hear it.
let's so just some progression stuff. So in 2020, Justin Herbert's yards per attempt, I think this was a better metric that we were able to find. So like
Hmm.
his yards per attempt from a clean pocket in 2020 was 7.1. In
Okay.
2021, his yards per attempt from a clean pocket is 7.9. So that's pretty good,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Like, increasing, kind of like throwing it downfield more. Could be a subset of, just having some big plays, but slight improvement there. But here's where it gets interesting, and I think this is on Lombardi. And I have one more
Okay.
stat before we end the video. I just need to remind myself to include it because it's a really important stat. Um, but so Justin Herbert's yards per attempt from a pressured pocket was 7.6 in 2020, so higher than his clean
Mm.
pocket in 2020.
Hmm.
But in 2021, his yards per attempt from a pressured pocket is 4.6, so a full 3 yards,
Wow.
like,
What a
shorter.
difference.
And
Hmm.
it makes me think that, okay, it's either two things. Number one, he's getting rid of the ball, like he's just taking the easy check down when he's pressured, like to Eckler or something. So
Hmm.
they're getting wrapping him up right away, or you know he's just not completing many passes because Lombardi isn't scheming people open for Herbert to throw to when they blitz him or when he's under pressure or
Hmm.
when he needs an escape valve.
Hmm.
So that's, I thought that was a really interesting thing where like he's just not gaining many yards, and we expected this, like he's going to regress under pressure, but like, his I didn't expect the yards per attempt to be this low compared to
Hmm.
last year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a striking difference, especially in the pressured downs there. I feel like I'm somewhere like in the mix of that where I don't necessarily know if it's the Joe Lombardi not calling up some of those shots. And like one play, like he takes Eckler in the flat, he gets 18 yards in a first down, but he had Guyton deep. To me, I don't know if it's about the play call as much as it almost feels like the philosophy where or Lombardi or maybe it's the quarterback coach or maybe it's Staley, I don't know, but they're having him. It's like it's okay to get the short yardage, and it is like we talked about
Hmm.
Herbert needing to get some of the more doubles, the singles or whatever. Because I mean, look at Mahomes. Like you have to be able to drive as well. But it almost
Yeah.
seems like on some of these plays, the deep balls there, take it, man. Like last year against the Buccaneers, for example. Like I can't imagine that game if Herbert only took the check downs and some of those options there. But instead, he under a lot of pressure went, screw it, I'm gonna throw it as hard as I can to Jalen Guyton, to Tyron Johnson and make it work. And he did. And there are opportunities for him to do that. But it feels like even if the play has someone open like Guyton downfield, it just feels like he's being coached to throw underneath and take those yards after the catch, which is fine, I guess. But again, the whole point is this is your quarterback. He's not Drew Brees. He's not the quick game passing guy. He can do it, but that's just not him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I guess I wanted to ask, and I didn't ask you to prepare anything for this, so it's okay if you don't have it. I'm assuming he's bootlegging less. I feel like he's more of like in the
I can
pocket,
check.
bootlegging a little bit less. Yeah, I can keep talking, I guess,
Yeah.
because it seems like people were even on Twitter. Again, I shouldn't listen to Twitter, but Chargers fans were clamoring for Herbert to be rolling out a little bit more, try something a little bit different. They were supposed to be getting him on the move more this game, right? Like we're gonna have him run a little bit more. What does that look like? Did he even have a rushing attempt? Or he did, but it was ended up being like a sack for -5 yards because he didn't make the right decision. So, what's going on with the bootleg? I don't know how often he did it last year, but the magic he can create. I mean, shoot, look at I think like the Broncos throw where he throws it to neighbors. What an amazing
Hmm.
play. Or the play with Keenan Allen against the Saints. What an incredible play. He has the opportunity to do that, and he can launch it, sort of, get those explosive 15 plus yard plays. but they're not having to do that either. So I don't know if you have the stats in front of you.
Yeah, it's loading.
No problem.
But yeah, okay, I have it. So this might not be an exact number, but it should
Okay.
roughly be in the ballpark. So Justin Herbert has 11 play action plays where it's classified as like scrambling right or rolling right, left.
Okay.
So I would say that's kind of like what a bootleg entails. So 11 dropbacks, that ties him for 11th. Uh, you know, just for reference, number one is Jalen Hurts. So I
Makes sense.
I was able to predict that the Patriots were going to run a lot of cover two last week. They did.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers weren't prepared for that. If they aren't prepared for Jalen Hurts running bootlegs and Chenna and Bosa aren't setting the edges, I'm gonna need to make some calls to some of the connections I have there and help out. I'm kidding. They're obviously a great good analytics
Sure.
group, but whatever. But yeah, so you were right. Herbert does. I mean, he's ranking like near the above average, but it's still something I think we should see a lot more of to get him in motion and movement.
How many such plays did he have last year in 15 games?
Okay. Yeah. So it did seem like last year was a little bit more. If I'm pulling it up right now, but just off the
Mm-hmm.
eye test, like I do feel like there was a good number of snaps.
Mm-hmm.
But that was I
He's
think Steichen and Anthony Lynn ran more of like a zone offense. So yeah, see, he had 19 dropbacks of these such plays in 2020.
so it's actually a lower rate. Interesting.
Tied for 11th. So I mean, yeah, could be
The
a
ranking is the
product of who
same.
they've played. So it could
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. So the last statistic I wanted to bring up, which I think is incredibly funny, but also just like kind of depressing at the same time. Even though it doesn't
Okay.
hold any value and it doesn't show anything, I still think like it's not something you want to be at the bottom at. So this is something the
Okay.
Chargers are last at, and not the Chargers, Joe Lombardi. So at PFF, our vice president of research and development, Eric Eager, aka PFF Eric, he was on the show with Steven right before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs like a scheme uniqueness or a scheme clustering thing for offense. So basically what he does is like he takes a bunch of variables, offensive formations, play calls, uh, like run type calls, and he'll throw it into a model or something, and it'll spit out a value that says this is the most unique play caller because no one else does what they do. So just like I
Mm.
referenced, and being last, Joe
Oh
Lombardi
boy.
has the lowest uniqueness score of any offensive play caller. Now we were able to see that this unique score has no correlation with EPA, or even if it does, it's like a very,
Mm.
very little negative correlation.
Mm-hmm.
But Chargers are an above average offense, so like they obviously are against the tide. But it's weird, right? Like the Saints were supposed to have this complex offense that
Yeah, no
Lombardi was supposed to
kidding.
bring over. Wasn't supposed to, like put the entire playbook in the first season. But for Eric to find that the unique score has been the lowest of
Mm.
any offensive coordinator or play caller in the league is very surprising. And like he's referenced this multiple times on his podcast PFF Forecast, and it's like it makes you wonder why how is our scheme the least unique scheme? Because at the
Yeah.
top you have Shanahan, McVay, you have a lot of
Sure.
Andy Reid, all of the outside zone creative guys, and then you have Joe
Mm-hmm.
Lombardi at last. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
surprising.
that
And
was
do you
my
happen to know where the Lions are?
lines. I have
Above
okay.
32, I guess. They're more unique than the Chargers
Yeah.
offense, so you don't have to pull it up if you can't
I
pull it
no,
up
I know
immediately.
I have it. Just
Yeah. It's
I can, okay. So I'll also say this when I'm pulling it up. Nick Siri or Jonathan Gannon, right? The the Eagles defensive coordinator. His like we don't have the uniqueness score, but like his like coverage like schemes are very vanilla. I think that's
right.
something you guys talked about in one of your podcasts. Like they don't like run like a very complex scheme, and it should
Pretty much, yeah.
be a get right game tomorrow or
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, because I'm assuming this
Yeah.
goes up on Saturday. Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be able to pull this up, unfortunately, for the Lions.
No problem.
Um, yeah, but yeah, like Jonathan Gannon runs like a vanilla scheme where they don't blitz, they don't run man, they don't
Mhm.
shift coverages pre-snap to post-snap. It's just Jonathan Gannon saying, "Hey, defensive guys, just go make a play, just do your job, and we'll be okay." And they have guys, like they have dudes who can do that, but it's not a
Mhm.
recipe for success when you're going up against like elite offenses like the Chiefs who dropped 30 on them.
Of
And obviously,
course.
like, can't wait. I don't think they've played the Cowboys yet, but I mean, if they have, I think they did actually. I don't know. Okay, whatever. But like they'll get shredded by good offenses whose
Mhm.
quarterbacks know how to read defenses because
Right.
they don't do anything to disguise. So
Mhm.
everything we saw against Wink Martindale and Bill Belichick is going to be the opposite of what we see on on Sunday against the Eagles. Whether
Mhm.
this trips Justin Herbert up will be a very telling sign of how the rest of the season is going to go, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But this is a must-win game. Like it's a for us to
Yeah.
like obviously like playoff aspirations are there, but like you have I know both our corners are out, but you have to win this game. And our offense is just way better than whatever the hell they have on their offense.
Right. No, it should be. And I hope things turn out for the best because, like you said, it is. Could they make the playoffs going 4-4? Sure. The AFC is still kind of wide open. But if you lose, lose to the Ravens, it happens. Kind of called it for the most part. Everyone's kind of like, that's a pretty tough game. But then you lose to
Hmm.
the Patriots and you're thinking, oh man, like, I don't know if we're going to actually if we make the playoffs, like, who are we going to beat if we can't even beat the Patriots, who might also make the playoffs?
Yeah.
And now if you can't beat the Eagles, granted, I know you're a little bit banged up, but that Eagles team isn't as talented. And
And
frankly, I don't think they're better coached.
the coaching
Yeah.
gap is so like Staley is like this, and then Nick Sirianni. I'm not gonna speak too much because if he's my future boss one day, we never know. But
I'll delete the
but
video
yeah,
for you.
but right now, Staley's shown that he's better in certain things like fourth down decisions and being
Hmm.
aggressive. So you
Yeah.
know, there's just a certain level of expectation. The weirdest part is like the Chargers are only favored by like 1.5 points in sports books.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they know something we don't. Maybe they set that line because like they don't believe in our secondary depth, but I don't think that matters that much, if I'm being honest. Maybe it's we're going on the road, but we've won in Washington and Kansas City, so yeah, it should be an
Right.
interesting game. But I do expect us to win and cover
Mhm.
because good teams win, but great teams cover.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I guess the last thing I want to ask you is whether it's a concept or just a style or a thought process, what would you like to see Joe Lombardi do moving forward? Is it just simply, you know, the floor is yours. What
Mhm.
would you like to see Joe Lombardi do, if anything, moving forward?
Um, get rid of wide receiver screens will be my number one thing. Like I'm tired of seeing these. I talked about it in my video. Like Herbert does not have a quick release. Like he has a big arm, but he doesn't have a Aaron Rodgers
Mm,
release where him having a slow release allows the corners to step up and make the tackle
yeah.
instead of Aaron Rodgers, where Devonta has time to make a move. I'd like to see that
Mm,
completely thrown out of the playbook. I think their aggressiveness is fine. Like it's so weird because like aggressiveness can either be classified from play calling
mm,
or the type of plays they're running. Like, are they not aggressive because they're running it too much? Anthony Lynn last year,
mm,
or they're not aggressive because they're throwing it so short. So
right.
I'm saying they need to be more aggressive in like early down passing by throwing
Hmm.
it deeper instead of just running
Yeah.
these spot concepts that Drew Brees shredded other defenses with because he had possession receivers like Marcus Colston,
Mm,
Michael Thomas, guys like that. So
yeah.
I'm not saying that the Chargers don't have the personnel to do it. It's just like the Chargers have one of the lowest first down conversion rates on first down in the league, and they've relied so much on third downs, and that's regressed. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't want it to become a reality. Obviously, you'd like to
Of course.
keep drives going, but it's tough to really do that when you go against defensive coordinators who just scheme the hell out of you on third down, stunts, blitzes, exotic fronts, which is what the Ravens and Patriots do. But luckily,
Hmm.
the Eagles don't do that. So if it's just winning a matchup, I would take the Chargers in this.
Yeah.
Charger skill position players and their offensive line because the Eagles don't do anything special except win one-on-one matchups.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, this has been great. It's unfortunate we have to talk about the offense not doing so well. I think the offense should be the feature of this team, and it started off so well, and then 47 points against the Browns, and then just a complete nosedive, crash and burn. Sure, there are many different reasons. I talked about all the different players and Herbert and pressure and all those things, but Joe Lombardi is the offensive coordinator, and right now he's running an offense that, while there are some things that are open, and while I do believe that there are opportunities there, it's just not the right offense for
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, kind of obviously. Even if I didn't know anything about analytics, just knowing who Herbert was and watching him last year and watching this year,
Yeah.
everyone knows it's just not really built for him. Like you said, they have the personnel. Herbert's a good quarterback. They could sort of pull it off, but it's not maximizing him. And that's the frustrating part so far. And for a team that is supposedly really into analytics, I'm really curious to see how they do moving forward. If they're able to look at what the data is telling them and how
Hmm.
what's not working and change that moving forward. And they do have plenty of time to do that. They do have a lot of cake teams coming up, easy defenses, vanilla defenses, where they get to try out different things. And I think we could see something there, but I don't know if I believe that they can yet because they haven't shown that yet. And like you said, 77 quick pass dropbacks, not that, and that doesn't include quick screens, which is amazing. I that's and they had a bye week too.
Yeah.
That's not great.
It's
That's obviously
incredible.
not ideal. They've had success doing some of that. Mike Williams has been all right as a slant guy to start the year, but that's going away. He's not really that guy right now. So can they adjust? I think they can. The
Yeah.
red zone offense was a problem. That improved quite a bit. So now I think hopefully they're in a transition where they can improve either the first down passing aggressiveness, like you said, please pass deeper or something. So I think they can do it, but we'll see. So Arjun, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I don't think you expected to be here for 36 minutes, but you did a really good job breaking down everything for us, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.